Our lien is not secondary because our lien was actually before the purchase money. But regardless, these are non-homestead properties, so we really don't have to deal with that issue, but very good comment. With that, everybody, I have to leave. I'm sorry. Thank you all so much for having me.
One more question. Where are you going? We're going to follow you.
I'll be honest, there's a little burnt orange in the... I'm Longhorn, and we're going to the game.
You just have, oh, you're going to the game.
I'll be a little late showing up, but I'm going to be there.
You have
That's what I'm shooting for. Well, hey, thank you all again for having me. Thank you. Oh.
So to clarify, we need everybody to hang in here. Don't leave because we need to go through some other things. Mark, do you want to? So as we kind of did a quick introduction, Mark Collingwood is our new community manager with Real Manage. He just basically took over. I'll let him give a little bit of his qualifications as far as what he's done before.
About April this coming year will be 4 years I've been managing HOAs. Started out in San Antonio, really managed from 100 homes to 2,100, multiple amenities, multiple pools, multiple gates. Kind of came over from Somerset, which is mostly condos, so I can say that word here. It was downtown Austin. Went back to single family homes. I don't know if any of you lived in condos, but I found single family homes to be much easier to deal with. I was actually at the company with the Timberwood versus Tar when it happened, so I understand a lot of the issues that are going up and why it went up. I didn't know Clint had done it. I thought it was another one. Let's see. I have a bachelor's degree from Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. That's why I said boo when he said UT, so sorry. I am about to finish my master's in nonprofit management. HOAs are considered nonprofit. That's why I'm going for it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, send an email. Usually within 24 hours I can respond. Sometimes I am out on property, so it might take me longer, and I do apologize if that happens, but I can try to address all your concerns. To try to help with that, yesterday I finally got assigned over to the property. I went from 80 to 150 emails. So I got it back down to 100 before I left, but I'm definitely trying. Yes, ma'am.
Are you saying you're brand new to taking care of our neighborhood?
To this neighborhood and to Real Manage, yes.
Okay, great, because I do have one comment. I have a friend who lives in the neighborhood. Their sliding glass doors along the back of the house leak terribly, and for, I don't know, almost 3 months now, they have been trying to get ACC approval just to replace the doors. They're not changing the outside structure. So your company took like 54 days to finally pass this on to our ACC, and now that ACC is trying to deal with it, but it's way too long. These people are desperate. Every time it rains, water rushes in their house.
With the way the laws are set up, there's a certain time period and ways to move forward with that kind of, no better way to say it, kind of makes us drag our feet to do that because we have to follow those restrictions.
Well, according to our ACC guidelines, we have 45, the ACC has 45 days to make a decision. I mean, really, something like that, you should look at it and say, that's a no-brainer. Pass it on to the ACC, they'll grant approval in a couple of days.
Hey, Chris, it's just a replacement. Why do we have to get
Anything you do, well, they're replacing it with Anderson, and Anderson said, hey, in your neighborhood, which everyone knows is volatile, we need an ACC approval, so really the manufacturing sewer.
And there was an answer, to answer you, there has been an answer by ACC back to them of what, on that particular issue, because we know which one that is.
Yeah.
We just talked about it again this week because we haven't heard anything back.
Well,
Because on that particular one, they did not state they were gonna paint a color, and everything that shows on that particular issue is all white.
yeah, I know, I told her about that, but you know,
Until
this is,
she answers-
after like 2 months, they finally say, well, yeah, but they're white. So anyway, they're just coming back today. they're gonna go ahead and figure out what to do about that. But my feeling is, these are doors that are standard colors, white or a slightly off-white along the back of the house where it's not visible from the road. That should just be granted.
Well,
I
we've
mean,
revamped, this Marco, like I said, he's learning all our little intricacies here.
Yeah.
So we totally revamped the ACC. We do need one of the, well, we're gonna talk about two things, but one of the thing in the back, we had an ACC, oh, I'm sorry, I thought in my phone library. Get on there. I'm sorry. Anyway, one of the things we need is, we do need some more people for the ACC. There's new state law that kicked in September. It's called the SB 1588. The 1588 has piles of stuff in it that changed as far as what we're concerned as a POA. One of them basically is that you can't have anybody affiliated with the board on an ACC committee. Right now, a couple of us are working as consultants. That's the only way I can term it till we can get through, because we have several on the plate right now. We only have 2 people. What, Mark?
I thought our restrictions stated that one person on the ACC has to be a
Stay-
board
We
member.
have to be, we can be a liaison, which is the same thing to me as basically a consultant. But right now, we have 2 set people. I'm actually making contact with an architect. We do have one of them that's a builder. So again, if anybody wants to be on the ACC, we have a sign-up sheet.
who's actually on the ACC that's not a
Right
POA board?
now, right now it's
Me and
Mickey Bertino and Mark Carpenter is not here, which he's the one that's a builder. Mark has been very, very good. A lot of you know the issues that we've had in the last year of things being approved that weren't supposed to be approved. That's why we were late, actually a little bit late getting here, because the attorney, we had to meet with one of these builders that we basically put a stop to say, you're not following what our rules and restrictions are supposed to be. So I'm here to tell you that we are not letting loose anybody that basically, if their drawings do not have everything that our restrictions say are supposed to be in the drawing, they don't go forward.
That's good.
The problem that we had before is that who we had on our committees before basically would go ahead and do the letter and say, you're approved, but you need to do dot, 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 dot. You can't do that. Because these builders don't, if you tell them, oh, but you still need to fix your stone percentage or whatever our rule is, they're not gonna do it if you don't put it in black and white on the plan.
Yeah. Yeah, they
So-
can't have approval till they comply with everything.
And so the point I'm making with all this is, we've gone through a huge struggle this year because we found out from the old management company, you know that Mark's with the new management company, which they came in March. Basically, we found out how manual everything was back with the old management company. And we have pretty much as a board, and they all can tell you, we have spent hours trying to rebuild all of our situations, look at our documentation, like we're talking about, this is short-term rental, but in overall, all of the docs. The next one we want to actually, that Clint's going to work on doing, he's going to do a complete, we call it a restatement, but a rewrite to our bylaws. And we will have that on the agenda in November. In the meantime, we have what we're here today to talk about, but I'm trying to go through a few of the overall things that we've been working on. The ACC, we're working on totally, we voted on it, but then we found because of the new laws in September 1, we've got to revamp the ACC guideline. We had it all ready to go, now we got to revamp it a little bit more. So that will happen by the end of this year. So hopefully by the time we get done with our term, come February, the next election, we at least should have, hopefully maybe the short-term rental, something on it. We got a new bylaw, we'll have new ACC. The only thing we'll have to look at it for getting these documents all straightened up is what we call the restrictive covenants. And pretty much our goal as a board this year has been that instead of you opening up, even if we have a portal online, if you go and open up, there's umpteen documents out there for somebody to go, oh, which one of these really pertain? Nobody wants to pull up 12 documents and figure out, oh, which one of these is the ones I'm supposed to be paying attention to. So our goal is to try to take, if it's got amendments to it, to try to get it totally rewritten and get us into a document for what we call the restrictions, a document for the bylaws, and then if we have to have a policy, and the policies will come in. That's what Clint was talking about, when we as the board have the right to I guess, right policies. That's gonna depend if we can get this short-term rental piece done.
Yeah, I think that's the critical, the short-term rentals.
That's
gotta
right,
be done.
and so that's what we decided. So in the sign up in the back, I didn't have the people back there doing that, but any of you that want to help with being part of a call committee or going door to door to help get the word out, I need you to sign up. We've got a big list that will have people's email addresses. That's why we're asking for your email addresses and phone numbers, because we have a lot of people, as what was discussed, that do not live here. They own a piece of land and who knows when they come in, right? So they don't realize all the issues that we have. And so we've got to get the word out that basically, you know, just what you've heard Clint talk about today, those are the things that we're gonna have to advocate to them, so please vote. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Chris.
that's very, very important, Julie, because remember when we tried to get the road use fee up to 1,500, which was a no-brainer? We couldn't get 2/3 vote on that thing because so many of the property owners that don't live here really don't care. I mean, they don't vote, they don't do anything, so it's very tough to get that
Well,
2/3.
it's the ratio of empty lots to built lots, and the empty lots, maybe we'll
Well,
increase the revenue.
As I put in
I know,
the
that's
bullet
the
point, we
problem.
have 334 lots, we could be one or two.
And it takes into account replats and all, right?
Huh?
It takes into account all the
That's
replats.
where we are right now, that we know, but
Okay.
when we did the budget meeting a few weeks ago, you know, there was still, management kind of has a couple more than that, but right now we're working with the 334 number. And like I said, Mickey and I we physically drove through to find out how many houses we actually had. So we're at 175 actual houses in here. So that's why I wanted to show you the difference of how many rentals you have that shows, hey, that's 11% of the houses in here are rentals. And like Danny, where Danny went, like Danny made the comment, if we don't try to do something, this number could be double in a year.
And it will.
Because as Anita made the comment, they're out there advertising, hey, we're the only community that can do this. Yeah, Chris?
I do have another question about replatting. Is it a good time to say that, or should I wait until later on in the meeting?
Well, I guess, go ahead. I don't know what the
Okay,
question is.
well, I do know that one neighbor of mine tried to, in the past, as long as someone was trying to replat their lots together, unless they lived in the center code, which don't really have any lots. All they needed to do was get the POA to sign off on it, and then Burnett County could approve the replat. But for some reason now, I guess you guys are asking that they get a signature from everyone who lives around them?
That's only in the hill, where there's a common area between the lots.
That's
the
right.
reason for that.
Oh,
We have two special areas that entails, which is like Mark just said, the hill, which Mark, is there 16 or 17 up there?
Yeah.
17, I think?
Well, there's 5 sections on the hill,
Well, how many people have to sign off those
depends on
words?
which section you're in.
Oh, okay.
Everybody
that
that's in the
clarifies
same
it
section
then.
is the common area that you're trying to take in.
And the Cove has another set by
Yeah.
what they have to do down there. So again, I know this might sound, for us on the board, learning all these little special things, and poor Mark's really got to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's really hard because we have these two special areas that have some other extra issues that we have to watch what we're doing. And that's why constantly when you see documents done,
Yeah.
it'll say except, like our CCR say except in the hill or center.
Well, this
Center Code
particular
1, 2, and
person,
3.
yeah, this particular person did live on the hill, but the dilemma they ran into is one of the neighbors said, I won't sign that unless you give me $4,000. So how do we prevent that? Luckily, she's now sold her house and moved out, but how do we control something like that?
We had to talk about that one on the board, and basically that's back to the owners up at the hill, in this case, the owners at the hill, and that particular owner of basically getting them to agree to be able to
There's
do
nothing
it.
the board can do to force somebody to give up their interest in the property.
But they don't own the property.
Okay, Mark?
I guess Mark can comment, but we basically all said no, it's between them to figure it out.
We on what everybody in that section.
So this person in question, they were trying to replat across the common area?
Yeah. I know which one, I know what
Yeah, I know
you're
Brad
talking
Hubbard.
about. Okay, so moving on. Wait till the.
Explain to you the problem
Thank you.
with that one. He was good at his legal. That's why
Are we-
Darla refused to sign.
All right,
Well,
so
she would sign one.
get that here. So moving on, what the other, like I said, this SB 1588 made a bunch of changes on the state law as of September 1. So one of the things that we as a community now can do is back to, even if we can't, hopefully we can, but even if we can't, we basically now have where we can actually gather, like those 19 people that are on that list, they have a form that'll now go out, because basically Clint blessed it here a little bit ago before we actually met. But a form goes out basically having them complete all this information. We're basically allowed to ask them for, like, you know, who they are, who's their management company. They have to sign off that basically says that they have read what our rules are. They basically have to sign that, hey, they're supposed to pass that on to their tenant or renter. And we're also asking for what we're calling a registration fee. I think that was $500, what we have in there right now. He said we didn't have a problem with that. So that's our way to be able to hopefully offset some of this abuse that we're taking right now, or extra expense on our infrastructure that we talked about earlier. In the same respect, then behind that, the renter, the person coming in, basically has a set of information that we now can request from them, and that has to be on file for 7 days prior to the time they rent. So we have the right now to go and ask for this information, which again, will go out on a big blast because we don't know if we're catching all of those 19 people. So all of you are going to end up getting the next email that basically is going to